Thank you very much.
Thank
Good
you.
to see you as always. Thanks, Pete. So Arizona reportedly now on track to seize 1,800 pounds of fentanyl this year, enough to kill more than 400 million Americans if they were to get just a little bit of it in their mouth. The prevalence, I should say, of this poison from a Customs and Border Protection director in that state. He sees this firsthand. He will explain it to us next. Season of fentanyl to kill more than the entire population of the United States. You keep hearing these comparisons. It's really overwhelming what's going on with the fentanyl that's flowing over the border. And Arizona's Department of Public Safety says that they expect to seize 1,800 pounds of the drug this year, according to the research group Common Sense Institute Arizona. That's enough lethal doses for more than 408 million people. It's a very scary situation, clearly. In moments, an official who is on the front lines of the crisis, Guadalupe Ramirez, who leads the Border Patrol's field operations in Tucson, Arizona, will join us. First, though, correspondent Matt Finn, live in Eagle Pass, Texas, with the latest reporting on this. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Martha. The DEA getting a lot of attention this week, issuing that rather urgent warning about the rainbow-looking fentanyl pills seized in 18 states. Well, now this afternoon, the DEA tells me that those colorful pills have been discovered in even more states, totaling 21 states, from California to Maine. The DEA tells us those are just the states where they are registering the pills. The candy-looking fentanyl could obviously be in even more states. The Drug Enforcement Administration says the multicolored fentanyl pills are being designed by the cartels to attract young adults and children. The cartels are growing more sinister and are trying to tailor the potentially lethal pills to a younger buyer. The DEA is stressing that none of the colors are any more potent than any other. They're all fentanyl. And this afternoon, the DEA says the vast majority of fentanyl in the U.S. is sourced by Mexican cartels. That includes all fentanyl, not just the rainbow kind. The DEA also says that seizing fentanyl in powder form, which it often does at the border and across the country, could prevent that raw drug from later being pressed into one of those colorful pills here in the United States, that those pills are not always pressed and colored in Mexico or before delivery. The DEA says last year it seized 15,000 pounds of fentanyl and more than 20 million pills. Martha.
Thank you, Matt. Matt Finn in Eagle Pass. Let's bring in Guadalupe Ramirez, the Director of Field Operations for the Border Patrol in Tucson, Arizona. Sir, thank you very much. It's good to have you with us today. I appreciate you stepping away. I know you guys are very, very busy. We have a number I just want to put up on the board for everybody at home as we get started here. The majority of Americans disapprove of the situation at the southern border. 60% say that. And yesterday, our reporter Peter Doocy asked the White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre about the fact that American life expectancies are going down based on this influx of drugs. And here's what she said, and I want to get your reaction to it, sir.
Just again, life seizures. Expectancies are going down at a rate not seen in a century, and part of that is being driven by drug overdoses. So what is the president going to do?
And we agree. We see those same numbers as well. But the fact that we are securing the border, the fact that we are securing record levels of funding from DHS so they can stop illicit drugs from entering into the country.
So, sir, thank you for being here, first of all. How does that line up with what you're seeing on the border?
Well, thank you for having me. And, you know, we at Customs Border Protection Field Operations, which is the men and women in blue uniforms at your ports of entry, our primary mission is stopping hard narcotics or any narcotics coming into this country. It's been one of our priorities for years and continues to be a priority.
So given that, there are reports, though, that when you look at the numbers, and this is from the Common Sense Institute, which we just quoted in the intro, they actually say that the apprehensions of drugs are a little bit lower. And here's the reason that they say that's happening, because basically the Border Patrol is too busy chasing migrants coming across the borders to focus all their energies on that job. It says, quote, failure to complete physical barriers along the U.S.-Mexico border, combined with a lack of enforcement attention, has enabled sufficient flow of fentanyl into the United States to fill a demand shift that was created in part by crackdown on mail order and prescription drugs. What's your response to that, sir?
Well, there's a difference between the men and women in Border Patrol, which is the green uniforms, and their mission, as their name implies, is to patrol the border between the ports of entry. My folks, we are the men and women in blue at the ports of entry, and I will tell you that in FY 2021, we doubled the amount of fentanyl and hard narcotics that we caught in 2022, which was 3 times what we caught in 2019. So, for instance, so far this year at our ports of entry here in Arizona, we've intercepted over 3,000 pounds of fentanyl. That's over 8 million pills. So, again, there is a difference in the duties and the responsibilities that are performed at the port of entry. Again, we're responsible for the facilitation of trade and travel. At the same time, we're responsible for intercepting narcotics coming into the country as well.
So, when you listen to the White House talk about the efforts to do just that, and then you see what's getting into the country, is the influx of migrants making it more difficult? Is it making it easier for some of these smugglers to get across the border because there are so many people coming in at once? Does it give them some evasive abilities?
Well, again, at our ports of entry, we've seen this for years. We process 6 million passenger vehicles per year, and so they like to play the numbers game. But as I mentioned, at our ports of entry with our non-intrusive inspection devices, the X-rays, our canines, and our officers, we've been very successful in intercepting those narcotics that you show on your show every day.
So you're, obviously you're pointing out the difference between what you're doing and what they're doing, and you're at the port of entry. But isn't it part of a larger team? And what would you say about the stresses and pressures on the larger team at this point, given the border policy?
Well, for us, again, with our priorities being legitimate trade and travel, anytime we have to pull resources to address, any other responsibility, it does impact trade and travel. However, our priorities remain anti-terrorism, narcotics interception, and the facilitation of legitimate trade and travel.
And we thank you for what you do. Thank you so much. We're going to go right to the White House because Mark Meredith is in there today for us.